While COVID-19 has upended daily routines across the United States, that impact has created a new issue for U.S. personal auto insurers. The number of miles driven by its motorists plummeted in the first half of 2020, prompting many insurers to accommodate policyholders through rebates or refunds. So what will this mean going forward? I'm John Weber for AM Best TV, and I'm joined today by David Blades and Maxwell Gilberg, co-authors of a newly issued AM Best special report on the U.S. personal auto sector. David, let's start with you. This segment entered 2020 in very good shape in terms of performance. How would you characterize that two-year period leading up to 2020?
Well, in 2018, again in 2019, U.S. property casualty, private passenger insurers generated decidedly improved underwriting results in comparison to the 8 years prior, meaning 2010 to 2017. During that longer period, the industry combined ratio was never lower than a 101, and that reflects an underwriting loss in the aggregate. Coming into 2020, the market was on an upswing performance-wise, having produced combined ratios of approximately 97 and 98 in 2018 and 2019, respectively. That improvement encompassed both the lower loss and loss adjustment expense ratios and underwriting expense ratios pertaining to personal auto business. And as a result, the industry generated a combined total of more than $7 billion in underwriting earnings during the last 2 calendar years. So that's what the industry had produced coming into 2020. More refined and effective use of technology and data analytics in particular has benefited personal auto insurers, as have targeted rate increases. These were a couple of the keys that helped property casualty auto insurers address identified risk selection and other underwriting issues that needed to be addressed in terms of improving the performance from that 2010 to 2017 period. Initiatives implemented to improve claim handling in terms of greater efficiency and in terms of better settlement outcomes also contributed.
David, the report notes AM Best's expectation that reduced claims activity will offset any adverse effects from COVID-19 on premium volume in this sector. What steps have personal auto insurers taken in the aftermath of stay-at-home orders, and what were those designed to do?
Well, as a result of the shelter-in-place orders to help combat the COVID-19 pandemic, cars have spent much more time in garages and not moving, from their parking spaces, with drivers staying off the roads, except for essential travel and going out to buy needed groceries and household supplies, especially during the months of April and May. This led to fewer auto accidents and resulting claims. Now, considering this new, at least short-term reality, personal auto insurers voluntarily stepped up and developed plans to provide relief for their customers. I think in total, I believe I've seen estimates of companies giving back more than $10 billion industry-wide in terms of premiums and benefit. Depending on the insurer in question, policyholders are receiving paybacks in various forms, such as premium percentage discounts, one-time payments received per vehicle insured, different credits, additional payment flexibility, and added coverages. So again, the carriers have stepped up, from that standpoint for their customers and policyholders. And again, we'll see how things look as we continue moving forward, trying to get out from under this pandemic.
Max, as for the rebates and refunds, does AM Best anticipate that these factors will become a permanent part of the competitive landscape?
Well, John, the initial response of companies were strictly due to the stay-at-home orders. Clearly, various stakes are at different stages of responding and getting through the pandemic, so it is yet to be seen how insurers will react to that in terms of taking action. However, insurers are for-profit entities, and unless there is another reason for extraordinary refunds or rebates, then generally auto insurers only apply discounts for drivers applying safe driving habits. So overall, AM Best does not believe that this will become the norm in the future, at least this level of discount.
So Max, what role has technology played in bolstering the personal auto insurance segment's performance?
Technology has played a very important part in the overall success of auto insurers, especially in cutting the expense ratio. Some of the ways that auto insurers are cutting the expense ratio is through mobile applications, which is used to receive claims, video chats used to review claims, and even artificial intelligence. In the past few years, the top performing auto insurers have always taken technology and innovation very seriously, and that has led to a very competitive advantage.
David, getting back to you, what areas within the sector will AM Best be monitoring in the year ahead?
Well, it's still unknown just how long the country will remain in the grips of the pandemic. We've been seeing spikes in certain states like Florida and Texas and Arizona and others. It makes it more clear that there's more tough, sort of unknown terrain for insurance companies and businesses of all types to navigate as the second half of the year unfolds. Initially, I believe the general mindset of many in the industry was that the pandemic was, once the pandemic was under control, auto insurance pricing could return to pre-coronavirus levels. However, considering the current conditions, the time frame for the pricing to return to pre-pandemic levels seems further off than we might have anticipated, let's say just a month or 6 weeks ago. So we will definitely continually engage our, rated companies to get firsthand knowledge on how the market is moving, from AM Best perspective. AM Best will continue monitoring regulatory and legislative changes that are made, in response to COVID-19 that might have some impact on the private passenger auto market. Auto insurers have refined their distribution strategies in response to the current market dynamics and in regard to what may become, the new normal. So we'll see kind of how that plays out over time.
Thanks, David. Max?
You're welcome, John.
You're welcome.
To read the full copy of the report, visit ambest.com. For AM Best TV, I'm John Weber.